What is up, my fam bam? Ashley Elizabeth here with AEHM Artistry, and welcome to this little eye tutorial, in-depth, kind of slightly hooded eyes. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet, so I'm like rambling a little bit, but you guys already saw the title, so you know. This video is actually subscriber requested in two different parts. Request number one goes out to Kate, who was the first one of many to ask me to do a tutorial on this eye look that you see right here. I did this eye tutorial in my last video, which was the concealer before and after. I changed it a little tiny bit. I intensified the gold and I added a little spotlight color in the inner corner, but you know, I'll go over that and you can change things up if you want. And then the second person that I want to shout out is Krista, who asked back in December if there was any chance that I could go in depth on a slightly hooded eye tutorial, maybe for a spotlight eye, and that's what I did today. I combine both of those requests into one. So you have this eye look here, and then because my eyes are slightly hooded, you can get a little more in-depth kind of tweaking and fine-tuning and going over that. So thank you so much, you guys, for taking time to especially request those, and everybody else who takes time to request videos. I love commenting with you guys down in the comments. If you're a subscriber of mine, you know that. Oh, I love it. And I've actually been getting a lot of different product recommendations from you guys lately, and I've been trying them and I've been loving them. Oh my goodness, I'll have to do a video on that soon too. So yes. Before we jump into it, I do want to mention this eye look is very dramatic and maybe you want to warm yourself up to it. There is one similar eye look that I did when I first got this palette that I'm using today. I don't want to hear any controversy about it. I don't want to talk about it, but it's the Laura Lee Party Animal palette. That's what I used, except the gold is a Too Faced chocolate gold palette. Let's not go into it, okay? Okay. So I use products that I love and I think work good, and for me, they work good, so I'm going to tell you how to use them in case you got them in BoxyCharm. And if you don't have that palette and you don't want to have that palette, I'm going to dupe out those two shades that I use also, so don't worry. Don't worry. But anyways, I know this eye look is a little bit dramatic, a little bit over the top. If you want to warm yourself up more to look like this, there is a look that I did when I first got this palette and the combination of the Boss Babe palette. I'll post a picture up here. That's kind of like a more subtle version. I used some browns and then I used a purple shade in that, and then I did a little tiny bit of gold, so it's a more muted toned down look. So you definitely have options that you can work with, but if you want to know how to fine tune things and make it a little bit more layered, a little more dramatic, I go over all of that, especially formulated for slightly hooded eyes. But if you don't have any kind of hood in your eye, then you can still use these techniques too. They're just a little extra bonus, little fine-tuning, little blue. So if that wasn't the longest intro of my life, I don't know what was. Let's go ahead and just jump right into the video if that sounds all good and dandy to you. Oh, I switched it up. Okay, let us begin. So, as per usual, I'm gonna prime my eyelids. This time though, I am not gonna use my classic primer. I'm gonna use an affordable dupe for pretty much any kind of concealing type of eyelid primer. It's not even actual eyelid primer. This is the AOA Studio Wonder Cover. It's like a concealer. I'm gonna use the shade Porcelain. This is actually working really well to cancel out any kind of discoloration, veining, all that stuff, and it helps the shadow to stick really well too. You can get this for $1 on the Shop Miss A website, and it's cruelty free, so bonus. So how I'm gonna do this one, I'm gonna put it on the back of my hand. You can just slap it right on the eyelids, especially if you don't have your eyebrows done yet. And I'm gonna take this little concealing brush, start under the brows, being very careful, and applying it all over. Now, for bright colors and looks like these, I really recommend using something to help cancel out the underlying pigment, because it'll help the pigments in the colors to really pop. If you use something like Urban Decay Primer Potion or the Too Faced Shadow Insurance, it's just not going to cancel out as much. You can use it and it'll be fine, but this, I just like canceling all that out. I don't like fighting with the undercover color on my actual lid. You know what I mean? You know? Man, this looks so crazy with my hair tucked behind my ears. Okay, now let's go ahead and apply some brow bone shade color. I'm going to be using in the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette, because we're going to be using the gold in this one later anyways. I'm going to use this one called a Rollin' and Dough, so use whatever you like to set your brow bone area, whatever, like skin tone or a little lighter than your skin tone will work fine. And I only set the brow bone because I want the colors to really stick to the lid and I don't want them fighting. If I'm working with a pigment or a color that is really finicky to blend out and stuff, I'll set the whole lid and then go in. But this way is my favorite way, and it works with this palette that I'm going to use no problem. If you have a hard time blending, you can bring it down more too, because it'll be more forgiving. Just all underneath the brow. Okay, now let's start playing in colors, baby. Ooh. So as you know, I'm gonna be using the Allura Party Animal palette. I'm just using these two shades right here. I'm using Bottoms Up and I'm using, what is this called? Hungover. Now, Bottoms Up has a little bit of glitter in it, but when I blend it out, I don't really notice it. And then Hungover is more of a sheen, like a satin sheen on top. Not quite a shimmer, but not a matte either. So you don't have to use ones that do that. That satiny kind of overlay in it kind of gave it a really cool, shifty, metallic matte look thing. It's hard to explain, but I did like that. So if you have this palette, use that. If you don't have this palette though, I will dupe these colors out for you in a couple palettes that I have and show you what that looks like. If you want to skip past this duping section, I'll put the times down in the description box too. I just find it helpful for you guys that if you don't have exactly what I'm using, I like to dupe it for you. First up here is Bottoms Up. So you can try to match it with anything that you have at home. Do note that these colors, if you remember my original videos covering this palette, they actually don't swatch very well. However, they work really well. And then here is Hungover. You can screenshot this and try to match it in your palettes that you have, but I'm going to show you some palettes that I have and what works as a dupe. Okay, got a few palettes here. Let's do Take Me Back to Brazil palette first. This is like the one I always use to dupe out, but it works. So I would say one of these shades, this one or this one, would be the closest. It's right here. They just don't have the shimmer, the glitter in it. Wow, I never realized how identical those shades are. That's completely unnecessary, BH. But yeah, that would totally work as a dupe for that. And then this purple shade right here on the very end. Let's try that one. Oh yeah, beautiful. It just doesn't have that shimmer in there. Let's check out the Blood Sugar palette. So Root Canal and Cavity, those two right there. Yeah, so that's that one, that's that. Orly one is a little more bright, but it will still work. And then let's put this one down here. Ooh, that one's a little too pink, but you could make it work, I'm sure. If that's all you got, make it work, baby. Make it work. This palette is discontinued. So this is the Sigma Creme de Couture, just in case you happen to have it. It is a beautiful palette and I almost never use it because I know that I can't like talk about it because you guys can't get it. But if you happen to have it, here are these. So there's that purple, really pretty, and there's that pink. So there's that. And now if you happen to have this old thing laying around, I'm gonna keep this for swatch purposes. UD Full Spectrum. It's probably time that I stop using it on my eyes, and I haven't really used it in a long time anyways because I got the BH Cosmetics one and I like that. So let's go in with the purple and the pink in the middle row, Sketch and Gossip, which are these ones right here. Wow. Okay, that's really pretty. That one has that shimmer in it, almost like the Allura one. And then here's the purple. Let's put it down here. Oh, like no pigment, none. Granted, it's pretty old though, so I don't even remember if it ever had a lot. That's lackluster, so don't bother with that one. Now there is one more palette that I will show you that I think has dupes in it, but I'm not gonna swatch it because I haven't used it yet. I'm saving it for a video and I need to take pictures of it, so I'll show you. Look at what I got, look at what I got, look at what I got. Oh, oh, oh. So that is the Zulu palette by Juvias Place. I've never tried anything from them before, so I'm gonna go off on a whim here. I saw amazing reviews and tutorials and stuff using this, so I have no doubt in my mind. The swatches were amazing though. So I'm gonna say those will probably be dupeable. The only thing is they're completely matte, no shimmer, which is totally fine. And this one almost looks like a different tone of pink, but if you have this, use it for this look or whatever. Ow. Anyways, you'll see this palette later this week. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Anyways, back to the tutorial. Let's go in with Bottoms Up, and I'm gonna start with my Sigma E25 brush, dipping. I tap off the excess pretty much of almost all color palettes, and I'm gonna be pressing it onto where it's for me, since, okay, I don't have a mono lid, I don't have full hooded, but when I relax my face, you can see a lot of that area around here disappears. So what I like to do is I actually press on the color onto where the bone ends and like the eye socket is, so that crease, not like my natural fold crease because that would be like too low. I'm going a touch higher, so you'll have to find your own. That's why I like these little flat brushes, because you can really feel the curve and just place it in there and start working it all around for this look in that shape. And that's pretty much where I go in for any time I blend out of crease or anything. So we're just placing the color right now, not worried about blending yet. Perfect. And while we're on this step, because I'm going to be doing kind of a spotlight, a subtle spotlight, since we have the pigment on the brush, we might as well put it there too. So I'm going to be creating a little blend between the purples and the pinks. I pretty much go to where my iris begins on both sides. Now I have another dip. I'm going to start blending a little bit and taking the flat side, so it's like this, right in the little nook there, and start rocking back and forth. And kind of, if you see, I'm going like in a upward sweeping motion now because I'm starting to bring that color up. And then same thing over here, kind of like a swirl upwards instead of outwards. Outwards will pull at your skin right there. If you go out and give you less control, going in brings the color back in, so it's not like flopping around everywhere. I'm bringing it up over on this side. So this area, making sure I don't go too far in, but just enough to be blended. So now, as you can see with my eyes relaxed, the color still isn't quite high enough. So I like to go really close to my brow. Everybody's, opinion on that is different. But for my eyes, I just like that look better. So I'm gonna be sweeping that up, but I want it to be very diffused, kind of like when I'm relaxed, just a little peekaboo softened look. And you can bring the brush sideways if you need help pushing the product up that high. And then that's another reason why I like this flat brush, because right here on the edge, I can lay it there and just gently sweep up kind of very lightly. I'm barely touching my skin really. And it just gives me a little more control. If you have slightly hooded eyes or hooded eyes like me, you can do a little check where you look straight on. My mirror's right here. I'm looking straight on and see if the color went up high enough. And I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna move on to the other eye. I'll be right back. I went a little too high on this side and I'll show you how I correct that, because it's a good opportunity to teach you some learning things. Learn some teaching things. So I'm gonna go back into my brow bone shade and I'm just gonna gently sweep it right under the brow. Ooh, little tiny baby. And rock it back and forth. And then I take my really fluffy brush, tiny dip in bottoms up, the pink shade, and just make sure that that is blended again. And you can do that as many times back and forth as you want. I usually end up doing it at the end to fine tune it. So if you ever feel like, went a bit too high, throw some brow bone shade on it, baby, blend it out. So usually it's salvageable unless you went full pigment to the brow, then that's a different story, but this is just a little minor correction. Okay, now let's go in with Hungover, the purple shade, and we're gonna use that same exact brush for now. We're gonna switch it up in a second. Same spot we were talking about, in the little nook and cranny of your eye socket. And you're gonna start mixing the colors right on your eye, back and forth, baby. It's pretty much the same technique over and over, different colors, sometimes different brushes, you know the drill. Okay, now that that's laid down, I'm gonna switch to that little BH Cosmetics crease brush. And I'm just gonna sweep up, same thing, except I'm obviously not gonna be taking it as high as the pink shade. I'm gonna take this super fluffy blush and make sure that's all blended together. And then take it on the side right here and blend away. This little tiny pencil brush and place it right on the outer and inner sides of my eyelid. If you want really that sharp line, I'm gonna use a wipey to clean that up anyways, but if you want it really sharp, you need to go in with a little angled brush. This one right here, a little angled one, just pop it right there and it'll help with the precision. Ooh, this is total Cheshire Cat vibes right now. I'm gonna go do the other eye, be right back. Okay, don't worry, that looks super crazy, and it's okay that it looks crazy because we're not done yet. So in case I didn't mention it before, I just remembered it while I was doing my other eye. Since I have slightly hooded eyes, I actually lift my eyebrows. I've mentioned this in a video before, but I actually lift my eyebrows as I'm blending it. Something I didn't even notice that I did until I think I was watching Stephanie Lang, and she was saying that she does that, and I was like, oh, I do that too, and I don't even realize. So I actually lift and I look down into my little mirror that I'm using. And that's how I get like really in there and blend it up. So that's why I have to do the checks that I talked about. If I have my eyes relaxed and I'm trying to blend, then it's gonna tug and pull the skin too much. And then also it makes it so the shadow goes too high up. So it's just easier for me to blend in, to lift up. Maybe I'll get more forehead wrinkles, but maybe I don't care. I'm gonna clean up my edges really quick with a little makeup wipe. But if you want a softened look, then don't take it as crazy as I did. Okay, let's go ahead and do a little bit of the lower lash line and the spotlight. Now, if you want to wait, do your whole face makeup and then do your lower lash line, that's totally fine. Whatever it is that you want to do that. I notice that I don't take my concealer up too much higher than it needs to be if I start doing my lower lash line, if that makes sense. Play around with it. Sometimes I just need to touch up a little bit if the foundation went too high anyways. So I'm gonna take my flat shader crease flangy brush again. This one is from Wet n Wild, the Holidaze set, but it's the same exact size and shape as the Sigma. And I'm gonna dip it back into Bottoms Up, the pink shade. And we're basically just creating a mini blend that we did on top, but on the bottom. And then when you get to the edges, just try to make sure they're a little bit connected. And then I can take my little pencil brush with the purple and just tap it onto the lower lash line as close to the lash line, the lower lash line, as I can actually get. And gently smudge a little bit. Now for the little spotlight look, the day that I did this on that video, all I did was press my finger into the palette and tap it on. I'm pretty much doing that, except I'm gonna make it glow a little bit more by doing a little bit of the concealer as the base of the halo. You don't have to do this. It'll just make it pop even more, just right there. I'm just gonna take my pinky and gently tap it out. And now I'm using my clean finger and tapping it out. Very gentle. You don't want to put it all over. Now with the Too Faced chocolate gold palette, and really any gold shimmery metallic shades will be nice. I think I did a little bit of the chocolate gold shade mixed with, I think, Drippin' in Diamonds, because it wasn't like super yellow. So I did a little bit of that. I'm gonna pop it right there. You can use a brush if you want to get more fine-tuned, but I'm just gonna use my finger. Oh, it's just so pretty. And I go pretty much until I don't feel my eyeball anymore. I know it's a little gross, but that's just the truth. And I'm looking down while I do this too, and lifting up my brows, and then very gently the outer edges. And there we go. I love how glowy it looks. Now this is where I want to try to do something a little bit different than that eye look, just to give you options. In this palette, I'm gonna see what it looks like to pop in. This one right here is Party, which looks a lot like the Prism palette and the Aura palette, that grainy kind of shade in there. Is it that one? Yeah, it's not Subculture. It's not that one for sure. So let me get another pencil brush, and I'm gonna pop it right there. Obviously, this is totally up to you if you want to do that. I just thought, let's try it. Let's see. It actually complements the gold really well. Okay, just a little bit of cuteness. So I'm gonna go ahead and do liner and lashes. For lashes, I'm gonna use the same ones I used that day, which is the House of Lashes in Allura. These ones, I've been really liking. They're almost a fluffier version of the Knockout lashes that I love. And if they do ever discontinue that one like they are saying they're going to, the Allura comes really close, except they fan out more on the outside than the inside. So do whatever floats your boat for this. If you want to do a whole wing right there, that looks cool. I'm just going to keep it really simple. Do a little tight line. Now if you have hooded eyelids, you don't want to lose a lot of that space, of the little bit of space that you have. So I don't bring up the liner too high, especially when I do halos or cut creases. I keep it really tight. And then for the eyeliner and the lower lash line, I actually went in with LA Girl Glide On Gel Liner, and in the purpley shade, it's called Paradise Purple. And I love these liners because they're very smooth. I just picked them up recently, and they're also very affordable, because I hate paying a lot for an eyeliner color that I'm gonna use like once a month. Come on, let's get real. Okay, lashes liner done, full face done, lippies done, and I can tell you guys, cause y'all my boos, right? I did this eye makeup 4.5 hours ago because I had to stop filming and do dinner and everything. So I just left it off at the eyes and was like, I'll finish the face before. So real life action right there. But the eyeshadow has held up really well. I did just reapply the yellow there because it completely wore off, as you saw in the video. So yeah, that's a finicky shade. That is a finicky shade in that palette. Whether you want to do that or not for this eye look is up to you. A little inner corner highlight would be beautiful too. And I do also want to say, you guys, for the very first time, I picked up the Wet n Wild Photo Focus, something, that super popular Wet n Wild foundation with a little spatula inside. And oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. I'm in love with it, but I shouldn't say that yet because I'm not doing a wear test or anything, but what? Thank you to those of you guys who have been recommending products lately, because I have been trying them and I am like freaking out. I also am wearing the Walnut contour stick and it is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, also from Wet n Wild, and I'm just like, yeah. And I also barely powdered my foundation, but I'm going off on a tangent here. Let's finish up this eye look. But I just had to tell you guys because you guys are my friends and I had to tell you when I was excited about something. Let's finish this eye look. So I'm pretty much finished, but I just wanted to show you a couple little things. If you feel like you need to go back over the lower lash line or you haven't done your lower lash line yet, I just grabbed the brushes that I use and I don't even dip again. And I just very softly diffuse those edges. Try not to bring it down too far. And then it occurred to me, I don't think I used this tiny brush. So this eye look came together perfectly. I don't think I need to deepen up the crease area right here, but I'll show you for you. I'm doing it for you. If you feel like you lost a little bit of that dimension and that darkness around, say, the halo or the cut crease or whatever that you're doing, you can take a little tiny brush like this, very gently dip it into whatever that deep shade that you want to layer up. Tap off. I even tap it on this little towel that I have in front of me, and then just deepen that up a little bit, kind of like a fine tuning. Just make sure not to overpack it because then you'll place too much pigment down. But this is a great way to, you know, just add a little bit more dimension. Or say you forgot. I've totally forgotten before to like add another deeper shade if I wanted to deepen it up more, and I've popped a little bit of like dark brown or like an almost black, and then just gone in and deepened it up with a little brush like this. All right, my love bugs, that is it for today's little eye tutorial. I hope that you enjoyed that. I hope that it was informative, and at the very least, I hope you liked watching me apply a bunch of colors on my eyes, because I know that's one of my favorite things to do on Instagram is I'll just watch people blend and blend and blend, and I love it. It's like those oddly satisfying videos. I can't help watching them. Like, well, let's see what color she applies. But oh my goodness, she did yellow. What was the chances? So that's me. If you are new to my channel and you are new to my face, hey, what's up? This old mug right here. How you doing? You're gonna want to go down and hit that little red subscribe button. That way you get notified when I post new videos, which is at least 3 times a week. And don't forget to hang out in the comments. Let's talk makeup, let's talk fun, let's have a good time. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope every single one of you out there have a great, freaking awesome, wonderful, happy, lovely day. Actually, I almost always upload in the evening, so if that's the case, if you're watching this on the day that I uploaded, have a good evening. And thank you for clicking that notification button or clicking that like Instagram update that is live, whatever it is. Thank you for watching. Leave me a little moon emoji if you are part of the nighttime notification crew and you stay till the end. It'll be our little secret.